All right, so we're going to pick up exactly where we left off in the last one. So we're going to firstly start working on our delay. So we're going to go into our player controller and into our model script. We're also going to add a public float for stamina delay. Okay. And we'll go into our player controller. And actually, we'll add another one for current delay. Okay, so it's a lot of variables. However, each of them do play their part. So we're going to go ahead and work on this delay now. Okay, so it's when we look for our calculate sprint. Here we go. So if we're not sprinting, what we're going to do is we'll check before the restore. So we'll check up here. So we'll say if our player stats dot stamina current delay is less than or equal to 0, then we want to do the restore. So we'll just cut that, pop that inside there. Okay, so now let's work on actually building this. So if we are sprinting, what we're basically going to do is say the current delay equals stamina player settings. Sorry, it's been one of those days. Player stats dot stamina delay. Okay, and then we'll say if not sprinting, we'll just add an else to the if statement we just created. We'll say player stats dot stamina current delay minus equals time dot delta time. So it'll count down. Okay, so quick and easy addition there. We're just going to go ahead and make sure that it works. So we're going to say stamina delay after 2 seconds, it will restore. Okay, so what I'm also going to do is stamina drain. I'm going to up that to like 20 just so it drains really quick. Hold shift, start sprinting, stamina goes down. And then it counts down and then starts restoring. Cool, which is exactly what we wanted. Start sprinting again. Counts down, starts restoring. Make sure I hold shift. Yep, under a quarter so it doesn't sprint again. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add a void for here under sprint. A void for a private void. Void for can sprint. Nice one. Sprint. There we go. Okay, it is actually going to return a Boolean. So what I'm going to copy this is target mode. We're going to, instead of just return, we're going to return false. Instead of void, we're going to change this to bool. Okay, so if it's target mode, return false. And then I'm going to return true at the end of it. So basically, as we go through, we can add some more conditions to this. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another check for to make sure we're given the right input. So if we're not pushing the stick forward enough or back enough or left or right enough, we're going to basically kill out the sprint just to make sure that the player is still moving either the analog stick or pressing WASD. So this is actually quite simple. So I'm going to create a variable for sprint fall off. Just going to give a default value of 0 for now. And then we'll just say if input movement dot y is less than sprint fall off. Then we'll say return false. Nice and simple. The issue being is obviously our input movement.y can fall into the minus if we move, say, the analog stick backwards, whereas the way we're implementing the sprint now, our character obviously rotates depending on what direction you're moving the stick. So instead of moving backwards, it's actually just rotating the player backwards and still technically moving forward. So we still want them to be able to sprint. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that value, add in some brackets, and I'm basically just going to check if it is less than 0. We'll give it a value, otherwise we'll give it a different value. Okay, so if our movement.y is less than 0, the value we want to give it is our input movement.y, but times it by -1. So if it drops into the minuses, we times it by -1, which basically makes it a positive again. And obviously, if it isn't less than 0, we'll just give it the input movement.y. And then we check that value against the fall off. Okay, so we're also going to do that for our movement.x. So I'm just going to copy that, add an and paste. So we have if move, and then we want to change our movement.y's to movement.x's. Okay, so we're doing the exact same thing for y and x. Now we just need to put our sprint fall off. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to make sure that the input movement.y is between 0 and 1. So we're going to debug.log, and we're just going to log the value of movement y. I'm going to go back into here. Just going to hit play and read that debug log. We need to, of course, we need to add can sprint. So by calculate sprint, what I'm going to do is at the top, just going to say if our can sprint function returns false, is sprinting equals false. Okay, so let's go back into Unity. We'll just check here. Okay, so it is between 0 and 1. So what I'm going to do is with our sprint fall off here, I'm going to set that to 0.8. So if our movement is less than 0.8, which is only really possible on an analog stick, then we stop sprinting. All right, so I'm going to keep my eye on the is sprinting variable. Okay, so it looks like I made a mistake. Over here, we say if we can sprint, just return. Obviously, what we want to do here is say if we can't sprint, so if our can sprint returns false, I forgot my little exclamation mark. So we weren't able to sprint. Let's go ahead and just make sure that it's okay. So if I hold shift now, we start sprinting. If I let go of W, we stop sprinting, which is exactly what we want. Perfect. So that covers sprinting. So we have a good stop sprint and everything. We will later on add it so if our player if his actual physical speed drops below a certain value as well, then we also stop sprinting. So say if we run into an object or something like that. All right, so next episode is a little bit better. We actually add some animations to our player. So go ahead and subscribe, ready for that. It actually brings the game to life and it looks a lot better. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode and I'll see you in the next one.